Greetings, salutations, and a good and glorious day to you all. You are viewing this for one reason, and one reason alone, to become part of the magic. You should have already watched and worked through the first 3 videos, creating a character, the King's English, and costuming. If you've not done so, please take a moment to do so. Have you returned? Excellent. Well, of course, you know that we are not actually a village in merry old England, but so much of what we do relies upon the suspension of disbelief. We allow ourselves to believe it, even if only for a short while. And when we attend the festival as a patron, all of our senses are overwhelmed by the sights, smells, textures, tastes, and sounds of the fair. This is not just a job. Every person walking through that gate is a guest, to be swept up, entertained, served with a smile, and given another magical memory of our fantastical festival. This lesson covers several things that will help us maintain the magic. Let's begin! Well now, you certainly look the part. Well done. How about you say hello?
Good day, my lord. How farest thou?
Well done on the words and the accent. But your posture and the dab are absolutely awful. This entire lesson is about voice, gesture, stance, and how to engage a patron. You must read your audience and be mindful of being offensive. Allow me to remind you that although we are pretending to be in the 16th century, our guests are most certainly from the 21st. If you are greeting someone and are genuinely happy to see them, how would you let them know?
Good morrow, my lady. How farest thee?
Good day, good sir. Most well.
Greet our guests as if you were greeting a friend, and you'll never go wrong. Now, let's have a word about flirting. Flirting is fine. It is part and parcel with the festival. But the fair is not for dating while you are on the clock. Your friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, significant others, husbands, wives, and lovers are not to spend their time with you when you are working. There is plenty of time for that after hours, but when you're working, you are working. Get it?
Got it.
Got it.
Good. But did you hear yourself? How excited and positive you were when she approached. Give that same energy to each and every patron you interact with each day. It isn't just polite. It will assist you with your sales. Another thing, your posture changed as well. Your chest was high, your back was straight, and you made and held eye contact. Now that's a powerful thing. You'll notice that when our guests are walking past your shop, they may avoid eye contact because it's the easiest way to get them to stop. I mean, what else are you going to do? Stand outside the booth and yell? Yes, absolutely you are. It's called hawking, and while not everyone who works at the festival will be asked to do it, you should be prepared nonetheless. First and foremost, your voice is a tool and must be protected. When hawking, you are yelling at the top of your lungs, but you are not screaming. If you feel it making your throat raw, you're doing it wrong. Project your voice from the diaphragm. I know you've heard that saying before, but try this. Draw in a deep breath and sing a note comfortable for you in the middle of your range. Not screeching, not high-pitched and falsetto, just any droning sound you can make without feeling it in your throat. Good. Now press your belly with your hands like you're trying to give yourself a hug. Excellent. Did you hear that? It didn't change your tone so much as made it louder and clearer. So now remember how that felt and do it this time with your muscles instead of your hands. Fantastic! Now yell something!
I'm yelling something!
Really? All right, but at least you understand the difference between projecting and screaming. So we'll let the dab go for now. There will be dozens of clever phrases that you can learn from other employees and your boss, and dozens more we are sure you will come up with on your own. Before we move on to posture and gestures, let us talk about the content of your hawk. And to do that, here is a message from Festival Management.
Hi, I'm Kim Bryant, the Vendor Craft Coordinator here at the Texas Renaissance Festival. When the Renaissance Festival movement began over 40 years ago, it was built on larger-than-life personalities, body humor that could slant toward ethnic or gender-related comedy, and a freewheeling approach to sex. The world has changed. We see it in social movements, hashtags, and the media. We see it in the courts, and we hear about it here in the management office. When a participant crosses the line, perhaps with a racially motivated joke, an unwanted kiss or fondle, discrimination due to gender or sexual preference, or innuendo spoken in front of young or sensitive ears. And so, on behalf of TRF Management, I am letting you all know that our expectations have changed. While you are not expected to be rated G at all times, it is nonetheless imperative that hawking and other interactions with the patrons not only be safe, but feel safe. I personally do not like to be touched by strangers, and many of our patrons feel the same way. So please be wary of that. Even if you feel like your touch is completely innocent, it may still feel invasive. We don't know the personal histories of our patrons, and so jokes about consensual versus non-consensual sex, including rape and incest, are always inappropriate. And that example is based on actual reports of a hawker interaction on the lanes. Some products, such as pickles, nuts, and floggers, lend themselves to bawdiness. Please be wary. Assess the patron, the group, and the patrons who might be nearby. Ethnic jokes are never acceptable. Neither are jokes or comments about one's gender, sexual orientation, or body. Cosplay is not consent. A kilt or corset, among other costuming choices, do not imply permission for touching or gross comment. The tremendously talented improv comedy organization Comedy Sports has a brown bag rule. If one of their comedians uses an off-collar joke, they have to wear a brown bag on their head for the rest of the show. And they are very, very funny. Keeping it clean pushes their actors to dig a little deeper to find real comedy gold, instead of going for the easy pickings, the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. And finally, these safety rules do not just apply to your interactions with patrons. We want all of our participants to feel safe and valued. We have all known people who have encountered poor and unsafe treatment backstage. Treat each other with respect. Thank you.
Incredibly important information. Thank you. Now, back to getting a smarter, better hawk out there. Let's move on to posture and gestures. I mentioned before about your posture, but I should be more clear. Remember that you are a character inhabiting our village, and as such, it is your character's posture and physicality we should be concentrating on. You want to be open and caring about your guests' needs, and that should be reflected in your stance. Would you rather be helped by this or this? The choice is clear. Remember, whether you're selling drinks, swords, clothing, garlands, food, or any other wares, this should all be the same. An open, caring stance and an obvious desire to assist your customer will make all the difference. And caring is more important than perhaps you realize. The world we live in now is incredibly different than the world we are attempting to portray. And there are several pitfalls we can avoid if we just think a moment longer before diving straight in. Here are some simple guidelines to follow. First and foremost, don't play with the drunks. Our festival serves alcoholic beverages, and patrons often find a way to bring in their own. And as much as we want everyone to have a good time, sometimes our guests get a little too deep into their cups. Avoid interaction with people who have obviously imbibed. And if you find yourself in a situation where you are already engaged, have an exit phrase and strategy ready. Second, find gender-neutral terms for the customers rather than relying upon my lord or my lady. Here are a few examples. Good gentles, friend, goodly folk, kind neighbors. The participant's guide has several examples of greetings and partings, as well as ways to say thank you. Third, remember that most modern gestures are exactly that, modern. We are creating an illusion here, and it is important that everyone does their part. Leave your politics at the gate, be thoughtful and kind, and help everyone have a magical experience. And as for you and this, tell the young patrons you've learned a new way to communicate with them. Then dab. They'll love it. Not everything anachronistic is forbidden, but you must choose your audience. We know that we are asking a lot of you. Working here can be more fun and more rewarding than you could possibly imagine, but it is also one of the most demanding jobs you'll ever love. Enjoy being your character in our village. Please remember that the participant's guide is packed full to bursting with suggestions and ideas. Use it. I have been Winstantaneous, and I am your humble servant. And remember, there is no festival without you.